Welcome back to Career Tea, where we spill the truth on what careers are really like straight from the people living them. I'm your host, Saurabh Memar, and today's guest is someone who wears more hats than most people do in a lifetime. From serving as a U.S. Navy officer to racing in NASCAR to launching multiple businesses, speaking on major stages, and even analyzing sports on NBC, Jesse Iwuji is doing it all. He's a living example that discipline and passion can fuel a career that breaks every mold. So let's jump right in. Jesse, welcome to Career Tea.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Of course, I'm super excited to have you here today, and I know our time is limited, so let's just get right into it. You've been on active duty in the Navy since 2010. So let's start right there. What role did that discipline and mindset play in everything that you've taken on so far?
Yeah, serving in the United States military has definitely helped build me up a lot when it comes to the discipline side of things, time management, resourcefulness, and just being able to be that type of person who has a type of mindset where I don't let whatever the circumstances are at that moment. I don't let whatever the cards that I'm dealt with at that moment. I don't let that become my final reality. Whatever I'm dealt with, whatever I have to start does not mean that the game is over automatically. There's a lot of people who sometimes they jump into a situation, they jump into an opportunity, and maybe they don't have everything. They don't have all the resources. They don't have all the knowledge. They don't have all the money. They don't have all the talent. They don't have all the whatever. They're maybe starting off with not much at all. And then they immediately get into this mindset of like, oh, well, looks like this is not meant for me. And that's just not the case. I jumped into NASCAR not having any real experience. I didn't race karts when I was 6 years old. I didn't get into, other levels of racing from teenage years and so on. I was at the Naval Academy playing football and doing military things and then graduated and then became an officer. So for me, what I've done and what I've learned really from the military is to understand that whatever the task is, whatever the mission is, you're going to be given just a little bit to start. But just because you're given a little bit to start does not mean the end is not possible. You can get to the end. And once I got into that mindset of understanding that being resourceful and just asking questions instead of trying to find out how I can't do something, I always tried to figure out how I can. I just keep on asking myself when somebody said, when you're dealt with the situation, and your mind immediately wants to be like, well, I can't. No. How can I? Every single time. How can I? How can I? How can I? If you just stay in that mindset, like nothing is impossible. How can I do it? If you stay on that line, you will get to anywhere. And that's kind of where I kept my mind. So that's what allowed me to go from Navy to NASCAR. That's what allowed me to start my own businesses and multiple businesses and grow them and make money and do this and that and do it while still serving the United States military. It's mindset. Mindset is absolutely everything. You can have a checklist that says, do this, do this, do this, do this to go accomplish whatever. It doesn't matter. If the mind isn't in the right place, you will never get to wherever you want to get to.
Absolutely. I love it. If the first moment that you believe that you can't do it, it's over. So I agree. You got to be like, I can do it. And there's no limitations.
The thing about people, those who say they can and those who say they can't are both usually right.
I love that quote. I love it. You already touched on it a little bit, but you're literally racing in NASCAR. So I want to know, how did that begin? What was that spark that made you want to go chase that lane? And pun intended there.
Yeah, what got me on that track? So I've always had a passion for cars. I've always had a passion for racing, ever since I was a little kid. And growing up in Dallas, Texas, and being there with my family are all immigrants from Nigeria, so they didn't come from racing or any kind of automotive background or anything like that. So growing up in Texas, I wasn't really exposed to it all, so I didn't really know a lot about it. I didn't even know what the possibilities were. I just knew that cars were cool, going fast was cool, and that maybe someday in my life I'll have something to do with it. But I didn't know any better than that. I go to college. I ended up going to the Naval Academy. I got recruited to play football there, so I had a full ride scholarship. I played Division 1A college football there for 4 years. Graduated in 2010 and became an officer in the Navy. And once I became an officer in the Navy, I finally had a real job and I was making real money. And I decided at that point, you know what? It's time for me to buy, some of my favorite cars that I've ever wanted to buy. So, at that time, what I could afford was a Dodge Challenger SRT8. I bought that and I would take it to drag strips and do some drag racing with it for fun. And then I eventually bought a Corvette C6 Z06 and I started taking that to road course tracks and then doing that for fun. And then after doing all these different track days for a few years, one day I just finally made the decision. I was like, you know what? Like, if I really like cars and I really like racing, why don't I just try to take it to the highest level possible? Why don't I try to become a professional race car driver? Like, nothing in my mind told me that it was impossible. Like, everything in my mind told me it was possible. Like, I
Yeah.
can just go figure it out. Like, and even if I don't figure it out like today, maybe I'll figure it out tomorrow. Maybe I'll figure it out next week. Maybe I'll figure it out next year. I don't know, but just keep going no matter what. And that's what I did. So I began training myself on how I could drive a race car. I bought a racing simulator, put it in my house, started training on the racing simulator every single night. I told myself 100 laps a day will keep the doctor away. That's what I kept on telling myself.
Oh, man.
And then, kept on getting on different calls and networking and trying to find sponsorship. I started my own business so I can make some extra money to pay for this very, very expensive racing. And just through that kind of grind over and over, I finally found my way into lower levels of racing, racing late model stock cars in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. And then I moved up to the NASCAR K&N Series and then ARCA and then the NASCAR Truck Series and now the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It's been a crazy, crazy journey. It's taken a lot of money, a lot of time, energy, blood, sweat, tears, everything. No tears, really. I don't cry like that, but still.
Tears of joy. Tears of joy,
Yeah,
I bet.
exactly.
Man, this is crazy. And I bet there was plenty of times and moments during that journey where it got tough. Maybe it got to moments where, the work was hard. As you said, 100 laps, you're constantly working, building, your skills. But I bet, was it your mindset and like discipline maybe that, you kind of developed through Navy that you were just like, I'm going to go through with it. Like there's no stopping me.
Yeah, yeah, it's a mindset I had to because during all those tough times, that's when that mindset, that's when faith, that's when everything kicks in because like you feel so powerless, right? You're going and maybe you're not, like today you're trying to take a big step and then maybe it just didn't go anywhere, right? A lot of people sometimes they're like, oh man, maybe this isn't for me. But for me, like I already had the vision in the beginning. So in the beginning of the journey, I clearly saw myself becoming this, achieving that, doing everything. I saw it. So when I see it, that tells me that in the future, whatever I saw has happened. All I have to do from now until then is put effort and effort and effort in. Do not quit and don't be a bad person.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that you probably practice what you're saying, like visualization, right? Is that an important part of this process? Like being able to just visualize like where you are with the end of the process and like kind of constantly day to day, like manifesting it in a way. So I feel like a lot of people don't really understand or believe the process of manifesting or visualization, but it
Yeah.
sounds like that's what you are practicing almost every day.
Yeah. And it wasn't, so this is what I'll tell people. Yes. Having the vision and seeing it and visualizing is very, very key. But it can't be like I call it just a made up vision, right? So like right now, we're sitting here. I could easily think in my mind, oh, I'm gonna have like $1 million tomorrow and just keep on seeing $1 million in my mind. Like I could do that and it's probably not gonna happen. It's different. It has to be an authentic vision that comes to you. Like it has to naturally come to you. You have to feel like this is where you belong. This is what you need to do and it needs to come to you every single day. And when it does, you jump on it and you think about it and you continue to envision it and you continue to see where you're going to go and what you're going to do. And you jump on it every single time. Like you don't push it away. You stay in that, you stay in that vision every single day. When you have that kind of vision, those are the ones that are meant to be. Those are the ones that are going to take you somewhere. But from there, it's on you to fully and insanely and obsessively believe that it's possible. And then after you believe it's possible, you have to put action towards it every day and have faith that all this action, all this effort, everything is going to help you get to the end.
Absolutely. So during your NASCAR career and journey in the past 10 or so years, has there ever been a moment where it just shook you to the core?
Yeah, plenty of times. There's been plenty of moments I've been shaken. I mean,
Tell me about it.
yeah, so I've had, many moments where I've made mistakes on track and I've gotten into wrecks. I've had, many moments where maybe I didn't make a mistake on track and somebody else did and I got into a wreck. I've had moments where I was running really low on funding and money and I had to figure out, like, how am I going to get to the next week? Like, I have this much dollars right now and I need this much dollars right now to get to this next race or to get to this next thing. And I don't have it and I don't really have a clear way of getting the money very soon. But then it happened, right? Because I didn't quit, right? Those moments where you get shook up the most are the ones that are supposed to get rid of all the weak people, right? The weak people are the ones who quit in those moments. It's on you to just be like, you know what? I don't care how much fire is in this building. I'm just going to stay in it. Like I'm going to get to the end. And that's how you got to be. You got to be in that place where it's like, I don't care what's around me, what's happening. I don't care that it happened. I'm just going to keep going. Like, yeah, you got knocked out. You hit the ground. Just get back up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Some of these accidents that you say that you've experienced within NASCAR, it's not like a regular accident that you would have a car accident outside, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever envision or kind of know what it would feel like before you were in them? You know, before you get into your first accident, like how was that feeling?
So afterwards, I definitely had to stay in that mindset. Yeah. Every single time I had a wreck afterwards, I told myself, no matter what, I'm still going to make it. I'm still going to make it. I'm still going to make it. I'm still going to get to my goal. I'm going to make it. And that's what I kept on telling myself. I'd have a wreck and it sucks, you know, emotionally, mentally, physically. And then the next day you're like, I'm still going to make it, like no matter what. And that's what you have to continue to tell yourself. So, yeah, it's not easy. Physically, you know, these cars are built really well. They're actually built to withstand wrecks way better than your average street car. So, you know, when you do get in a wreck in them, we're getting in wrecks at 100 plus miles per hour. It's not that bad, right? Usually you're able to walk away without any real injuries. Now, there are some that are really bad that some people get hurt. But for the most part, these vehicles and the tracks are built fairly safe to where, you know, if something happens, usually you can walk away with maybe just, you know, a little bit of soreness.
Yeah. Now, what's scarier or I guess harder, being in the Navy and what you went through to be in the Navy or becoming and being a NASCAR driver?
Yeah, I don't know, getting into the Navy. So even just, you know, getting recruited to play football and play football at the highest level of college football, that was tough because you're battling against thousands and thousands and thousands of other kids around there and different high schools around the country for the same thing, right? Like we're all trying to go to college and play college football. So you're battling against that. And then to get past those odds, that wasn't easy. To get into the Naval Academy, that wasn't easy. That's an even slimmer number. Like, you know, 20,000 people applied again to Naval Academy, only maybe 1,200 get it, right? But like to get into NASCAR, I mean, there's thousands, thousands, thousands of people to want to get into racing in the NASCAR, and only, you know, 30 something, 40 are going to be racing in any given series on any given weekend. So it's very tough to get there, but, we figured it out.
Yeah, of course. So let's talk a little bit about business now. You've launched multiple companies from production to motorsports to motivational speaking. What kind of motivates you and kind of keeps you going of this side ventures and side businesses, as well as doing your main thing, being a NASCAR driver and being in the Navy? What motivates you to handle so many different things at once?
Yeah, what motivates me to handle all the different things at once really is more of my drive to continue to race and do all the things that I do. It requires, a lot of money to do half the things that I'm doing. So in my mind, I'm like, I got to make the money somehow, some way. Nobody's just going to walk up to me and hand me a lot of money. So I figure, hey, you know, start these different ventures that I'm in, work hard at them and do what I can to just earn what I can through them. And that will allow me to do all the things I really enjoy doing. So yeah, my hand in a lot of different, or having different pots in a lot of different stoves. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot to handle, but I'm figuring it out. We're figuring it out. You know, I have some good people around me to help as well. And at the end of the day, I'm just a grinder. I just grind to try to figure out life and
Absolutely.
earn what I can and live the best life that I possibly can.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. You've also been on NBC Sports analyst. How do you approach being on TV? How was that experience for you? And compared to all your other experiences, you know, being an analyst, kind of analyzing sports, that's not something that an ordinary person gets to experience or do. So what
Yeah.
was that experience like?
It's not easy at all. A lot of people see these folks who are on TV, they think their job is easy. Oh, they're just talking about sports. It's not. When you have a camera right there in front of your face and it's live TV, like there is no do-over. It's not like you can say whatever, do whatever and say, oh, wait, hold on a second. Let me redo that. You can't. Like it's live. So the moment it's on you, it's boom. Now you are talking to a screen, talking to a camera, whatever it is, trying to explain what you're explaining, do it in the most you do it in a very smart way, in an authentic way, in a way that's going to captivate the audience and have them impressed. It's not easy. And then while you're doing all that, somebody's in your ear, your producer's in your ear, maybe two of them in your ear talking to you saying, hey, lead the conversation in this way, lead the conversation this way. Hey, don't forget this, don't forget that. Hey, talk about this, talk about that while you're trying to get your point across. And you don't have time to be like, hold on, America. Let me listen
It's
to my
all
producer.
live.
It's all live. So it is one of the hardest things, one of the most nerve wracking things I've ever done.
Did you ever mess up, like saying anything on live? I
I
mean, that
probably had a couple little slip ups, but nothing major. When I would go back and watch, I did nothing major. I did notice that I talked very fast, and that's one big thing I needed to work on was to slow down my pace. I was like very just, and
I
I
bet.
just needed to slow down a little bit. So once I started slowing down, I got a little bit better. Obviously the more preparation you have as far as understanding what you're going to talk about before you talk about it makes it so much easier. And, the more you do it, the more reps you get, the more comfortable you get
Yeah.
with being on the spot.
Now, you also have done motivational speaking as well. I guess the sense of pressure, it's kind of similar to being on TV, right? I mean, motivational speaking, you're in front of a lot of people, live stage. Being an analyst on TV, you're still in front of a big, crowd of people watching on TV. What would you say was harder? What's the difference between the two? And did doing motivational speaking help with like being on TV and doing that job?
So yeah, I definitely believe doing the speaking engagements that I've done and doing all the different, radio shows, podcasts, things like that, that helps a lot for sure. Because it helps your brain, because when you speak, right, when you get onto a platform where you're speaking live and doing whatever, and being interviewed, you have to already have your thoughts ready. Like whatever you're going to say next already needs to be like stored somewhere ready to go as you're speaking. And as you get into that motion of like that kind of, your brain turns into this factory where I'm talking about this, but what I'm going to talk about is right here next. And then once I move on, boom, you just keep doing that. Once that right there helps keep the conversation flowing. I learned to do that a lot when I was doing a lot of interviews, especially in the early days, 2015, 16, 17, 18. And that helped me out with the motivational speaking side of it. But going onto the live TV side, I think that's even more nerve wracking than speak, because the motivational and inspirational and speaking engagements, to me, that's easy because all I'm doing is telling my story. So I'm not, now if I had to get up on stage and teach a whole audience on a subject or something, that's a little bit more nerve wracking because that's not my story. I'm talking to you about something else outside of me. So now I have to understand what's outside of me just as good as I understand myself. When I'm speaking about me, I understand myself better than anybody else. I lived it. So it's very easy for me to tell the story. And, but you speaking on TV, like I'm talking about racing. Yeah, I'm doing racing, but I'm now talking about moments that are happening live. So like whatever that moment is, wasn't my experience. And now I'm having to talk about, okay, this is what just happened to that driver and this is how they probably feel. And these are the different things that go along. You got to recall all this stuff. Like it's a lot. So, I think it's definitely harder to do the broadcast stuff, the analyst stuff. That's way harder than doing,
I hear you.
speaking engagements.
Absolutely. Now, once it's all said and done, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? What do you want people to remember you by?
Yeah, when it's all said and done, when I'm like, I don't know, 200, 250 years old or something like that,
Nice.
the legacy I want to leave behind, I just want to make sure that I not only made a positive impact on the world, but continue to make a positive impact. So hopefully I've built something between now and whenever I'm done. I've built something that, it can stay here in this world forever and continue to help other people, help grow them into positive role models in the world. Yeah, there's too many bad things going on in this world. Yeah, too many evil people, too much evil. And in this world, there is a good versus evil, right? And hopefully I can just build things that contribute to the good side and continue to build more good people. The more good people we have, the more we can overcome the evil. So, for me, yeah, it's just building good things so that good people can win
Yeah,
and bad people will go down.
absolutely. Yeah. If there's someone listening right now, maybe they're in their early 20s, 30s, and they're still trying to figure out life, what's one piece of advice you would give them about building their life and figuring out a path?
I would say for, biggest piece of advice for anyone trying to build their life and to get to anything is, the one big part is focus on the mindset. You got to get your mind into the right place. You got to have the mindset of where you have your vision, you believe in it wholeheartedly, and then you're willing to put action towards it every day, and you have faith that it's going to happen no matter how dark it gets, no matter how cold it gets, no matter how tough it gets. You're just going to have faith that it's going to happen because you're putting in work, like you're putting energy into it. And we keep putting in energy into something, eventually it's going to happen. Denzel Washington said it best. He said, if you keep showing up at the barbershop, eventually somebody's going to give you a haircut. So just keep showing up every single day. That's the biggest thing right there. Like, don't worry about all these gurus online telling you this, telling you that. It doesn't matter. It's straight mindset. Are you going to outwill your opponent? Are you going to outwill the obstacle in front of you? Like, who's going to win that day? Like, are you going to win, or is what what you are going against going to win? It's your choice. Pick, like, what are you going to do? And if you lose that day, are you going to get back up and go fight again the next day? You have to do it. You stay in that mindset and you do that, you'll accomplish whatever. And whatever else you're trying to do, it's just going to work out.
I love it. Jesse, thank you so much. This was incredible. Thank you for squeezing me into your jam-packed schedule.
Yeah.
Your story was one of the most inspiring that I've had on the show, so I appreciate it. And I know this is going to hit home for many listeners, and hopefully people will be inspired by your story and your journey. So best of luck on the track, in business, and everything that comes next. And I hope to speak to you again soon and have you back on the show again.
Most definitely. Thank you so much for having me.